Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Universary. Today we have something a little bit different. This is a sentencing for Miss Natasha Saber Charging Hawk out of Lakewood, Washington. This is before Pro Tem Danielle Havens. Originally, Miss Charging Hawk was arrested for domestic violence or assault and burglary of a residence. And I thought this entire sentencing was so charming. I'm interested to see what else has happened in this woman's life, so I will be looking for other cases for you. Hope you enjoy.
I'm Pro Tem Danielle Havens, and I will be hearing cases today. And City, go ahead and make your record, Mr. Farrow.
Good morning, Your Honor. Tom Farrow on behalf of the city. And Mr. Carlo, just so you know, I just got back from the dentist, so you might not be able to, actually, the numbness seems to be, but if you can't hear me, or understand me, just let me know.
No problem.
All right. And I'm sorry, what's your name, ma'am?
Natasha Charging Hawk.
Thank you very much, ma'am. That is such a powerful and important name.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much.
Yeah, okay. So we are here for two review matters on case numbers 22L001252, review on 23L001202, and an SOC compliance matter on 23L001355. All of them the City of Lakewood versus Natasha Saber Charging Hawk. What is our plan today, gentlemen?
And good morning, Your Honor. For the record, Luis Carlo for Miss Charging Hawk. I discussed these matters with her. The issue was she was actually in custody and score until March 26th, and her paperwork was destroyed when she was booked. So she was unaware that she had court. Looks like we had a failure to appear over on the 28th of March. My understanding from reading of the docket, she's already done some portion of her work crew. She still has 6 days to complete. It is Miss Charging Hawk's wish to do substance use disorder treatment as soon as she is released. So I would ask the court to allow for her to be released in order to complete substance use disorder treatment and any further affirmatives. She has quashed her warrants in the other courts as well, which apparently Miss Lamelli indicated that she needed to quash her warrants in order for her to complete the work crew requirement. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Farrow, what's your position?
Your Honor, unfortunately, on the case that is on an SOC right now, Miss Charging Hawk entered into that SOC in September of 2023, and since that time has not been in compliance with her treatment obligations. We got a treatment report in December indicating that she was not in compliance based on lack of attendance and positive UAs. December, not in compliance due to lack of attendance. She was sanctioned for those violations to, it says 5 days jail, but I think she also had a work crew, either sanction or obligation on another case. So I'm not sure if that jail sanction, I think it's possible that there's an error in the docket, or it's possible that that hasn't been served. But the city's primary concern is that also in January, not in compliance due to lack of attendance. And then I don't think that she has come into compliance yet. So the city, based on several months of non-compliance, is asking to revoke the SOC on this case and proceed to sentencing.
Okay.
And is the SOC the protection order violation 1252?
The SOC is the assault 4th degree DV from September 17th, 2023. We've got reviews on the protection order violation and review on the displaying a weapon, both of those also domestic violence. Okay. Well, it certainly is the city's right to move to revoke an SOC. And I need to find the police report on that. Just one sec. So, Ms. Charging Hawk, when you entered into your SOC, one of the things that you were told was that under no circumstances would the case return to a trial track. And so what that meant is you were entering a contract with the city that you would follow through and meet certain benchmarks, and that when you did, you would get the benefit of a bargain that you made with them. If you fail to meet the benefit of the bargain, they are able to move to revoke that contract and then proceed to what is called a bench trial, or just a stipulated trial, that is a review of the police report. So I have just received that police report from my court clerk, and I'm going to read through this, and then I'll make a determination about whether or not you did in fact commit the crime of assault 4th-degree domestic violence alleged to have occurred in the city of Lakewood on September 17th, 2023. So give me one moment, please, ma'am. Okay, I have had an opportunity to read the report that was signed under penalty of perjury in the laws of the state of Washington on September 17th, 2023 in Pierce County, Washington. City of Lakewood is identified as the location by Lakewood Officer Stephen Moffett. I do find, based upon this report, that an assault for domestic violence did occur on that date, and that you were the perpetrator of that assault. So at this time, we will need to move to sentencing on that charge. Mr. Carlo, what would you like me to consider?
Your Honor, I'm discussing with Mr. Farrow what his preference is. Miss Charging Hawk is open to going into substance use disorder treatment. I would have to ask the court to inquire with her if that is inpatient treatment or out-of-patient treatment. I would ask the court, rather than imposing a sentence, and I don't think Mr. Farrow will have a strong objection, that the court impose a requirement that she get substance use disorder treatment. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Farrow, what would you like me to consider?
So, Your Honor, I have a bit of familiarity with these cases and what I can tell the court. And when I say these cases, I mean all of the cases in which she's been charged, either in Lakewood or in Pierce County. Every single one of them, unless I'm wrong, which I don't think I am, occurred when Miss Charging Hawk was intoxicated on alcohol. I wasn't the one that negotiated the SOC in this case, but I think the previous prosecutor did get it right in that what we needed to see from Miss Charging Hawk was compliance with alcohol treatment. It seems to be the only thing that is leading her to commit these crimes. And on the one hand, that's I don't know if the word is encouraging, but on the other hand, it's extremely frustrating in that we've been at this for multiple years now with Miss Charging Hawk, and I'm at a bit of a loss to try to recommend something to the court that I think is going to work. It's not a situation in which she's, at least as it appears to me, that she has a number of problems that she needs to fix in order to stop committing crimes. It's just one problem, but it's obviously a very sticky problem. At this point, I'm not comfortable with a situation in which Miss Charging Hawk is released to anything other than inpatient treatment. And then following that inpatient treatment, I want her to be on 24/7 alcohol monitoring. I would like to see Miss Charging Hawk demonstrate a period post inpatient treatment of complete abstinence from alcohol, with an incentive that if she does drink, the bracelet is going to tell us about it immediately, and she's likely to go back to jail. So my sentencing recommendation is going to be a little bit strange, and Mr. Carlo's correct in that I am, I guess, a bit flexible on what I'm recommending, which is that I'd like Miss Charging Hawk, and I should back up and note that the conviction on these cases,
On number 1 or number 2 and number 3 on the calendar?
Sorry, the conviction on the SOC is going to at least make Miss Charging Hawk subject to potential sanctions on the cases that are post disposition.
Yes.
this is what I'm gonna ask the court, is I'm asking the court to sentence Ms. Charging Hawk to 60 days in jail. However, that she be authorized to be furloughed to inpatient treatment whenever a bed date becomes available, and that she be given day-for-day credit in inpatient treatment for her jail sentence. Essentially, what I want, and I guess I don't know quite how to word this, is that when she's done with inpatient treatment, I want her to be done with her jail sentence. And after that, for a period of 180 days on EHM scram monitoring to be paid for by the city. And I don't have a strong preference about how this is spread across the cases. I would defer to the court on that. But essentially, I would like to see Ms. Charging Hawk be transferred from jail to inpatient treatment, and from inpatient treatment be released to EHM with 24/7 alcohol monitoring.
Okay. Mr. Carlo, do you want to respond to that recommendation?
Your Honor, I just want to ask Ms. Charging Hawk one thing, because she indicated to me that she had treatment set up. Ms. Charging Hawk, is this inpatient treatment or outpatient treatment? What do you
It's
have?
outpatient. I go to outpatient treatment and it's like every once a week for and they also take my UAs once a week too.
So, and that being said, Your Honor, I would ask that the court allow Ms. Charging Hawk outpatient treatment, and I understand Mr. Farrow's concern, and I understand the court's concern. So I would ask that the court allow a period of electronic home monitoring with the TAD, the transdermal alcohol sensing device. That coupled with the outpatient treatment, I think would serve the court's purposes. So Ms. Charging Hawk would be released. She would be electronically monitored with an alcohol monitor. That coupled with the outpatient treatment, I think would serve Ms. Charging Hawk well. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Charging Hawk, is there anything you would like to add?
There was. No, actually there's not. Sorry about that, Your Honor.
That's okay. All right. Well, this is really disturbing because you are such a young woman and you have this, like, since 2020, you've just been apparently unraveling with all of these assault fourth degrees, the vast majority of them domestic violence. You've got protection orders with family or household members. You've got a former partner that, has been the victim of these crimes. You have allegedly displayed, that was a guilty verdict. So you've been convicted of displaying a weapon in a domestic violence situation. And, the first thing I said to you is what a powerful and important name you have.
Mm-hmm.
And names matter. And when you have been given a name like Natasha Saber Charging Hawk, that comes with responsibility.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, you have an obligation to not only yourself to be your best version of you so that you can have a happy, healthy, and safe life, but to generations to be worthy of such a strong and important name. And to use the power that comes with a name like that for good, rather than to threaten and assault and harm and frighten people who love you and that you love. Yes, ma'am.
I have something to say about that. Honestly, I really don't mean to do those incidents. It's just like he's saying, the prosecutor was saying, is for me actually drinking all the time. And that's what I'm trying to stop now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when were you assessed? That put you in the outpatient treatment program, and do we have a copy of that assessment?
I know they put me in outpatient treatment like around, when was this? I think the beginning of this year.
And who put you in that program?
I know it was Kawachi Center with the Tribal Health Authority.
Okay. Well, the problem that I have is that you were so non-compliant all autumn and you were having positive UAs. And so I too would really like to see you assessed for an inpatient treatment bed. And what I'm going to do right now is how much time does she have in custody? How much time does she have in custody right now? Do we know? Okay, do you know how much time she has in custody, Mr. Carlo?
I can check this most recent one. Ms. Charging Hawk, when were you booked?
I was booked yesterday, like around what, 12, I think.
So she was just booked on this matter. Your Honor.
Okay, all right. I am going to impose 45 days, so it'll be 319 days in jail with credit for 1 day served, $5,000 fine. I'll suspend all of the fine. I'm also going to order you to 180 days of electronic home monitoring with alcohol monitoring. I am going to indicate that this time is to be served concurrent with any other time. And we're going to take 60 months of jurisdiction. I'm finding that this was domestic violence pled and proved against an intimate partner. That requires that you report to Lakewood Police to do a DNA sample, but will they take it at Nisqually? Do they do?
I don't know, but so I just been reminded. Well, actually, no, I think your Honor did use. So if it's being paid by the city, we're being asked to use very specific language, EHM with TAD. And I think that is what your Honor said, so.
Okay, it says EHM with alcohol monitoring, but in the other section, I will indicate that the city shall pay for EHM with TAD.
Okay, I think that's.
And you're gonna be on active probation. You're to obtain a substance use evaluation from a Washington State approved agency. And you're to do that within the next 30 days and begin any recommended treatment immediately. So I want you to be evaluated in custody for inpatient treatment. If you are, then you will be furloughed to an inpatient treatment program. If you do not qualify for some reason for inpatient treatment, then your attorney can immediately set a review hearing to request that you be released to TAD so that you can do your outpatient treatment. And I'm going to make notes here on this judgment and sentence to that effect.
And Your Honor, what I'm gonna do is I'll have our social worker reach out to Ms. Charging Hawk while she's in custody to facilitate the inpatient
Thank you. EHM with TAD.
Yes. This is somewhat based on my memory, but I think Ms. Charging Hawk may have had some difficulty with homelessness in the past. And if it is EHM with TAD, that wouldn't work. To be frank, I don't have a strong preference for EHM with TAD versus just the TAD device. Based on what I said earlier, I think the problem here is alcohol, not necessarily where she's going. So I guess with that record being made, I'll defer to the court, but I really wouldn't have an objection to just the alcohol monitoring, which does not monitor her location, but does monitor for alcohol. And then that also comes with weekly UAs I think the court already said she'll be on active probation, so that would be,
Yes.
And the defense certainly has no objection to removing the EHM requirement and simply requiring TAD. I think that's
Okay.
appropriate.
and so the TAD device does still require that it be plugged in every day. I guess just wanted to make everybody aware of that.
Okay. She is ordered. I don't like the way this is looking. All right. So here's what I'm doing here. So on the finding of guilty from the stipulated facts trial, I am imposing 364 days in jail with 319 days suspended. I'm giving you credit for 1 day served. I am suspending all of the fine. I am also ordering we'll take 60 months of jurisdiction, and again, domestic violence pled and proved. And you are to report to Lakewood Police to give a biological sample no later than June 18th. Right, that's okay. So, all right. So Lakewood Court.
He was already ordered to give a biological sample from her Superior Court case. I don't have anything indicating
Okay.
whether that
Let's
actually
strike that
happened.
condition then. Thank you. All right. So I'm finding that you're indigent for purposes of this hearing. The conditions of your sentence are that you appear timely to all scheduled court hearings and you're to have no new criminal law violations. You are to have no alcohol-related infractions, and you are not to use or possess any firearms or other dangerous weapons. And Mr. Farrell, would you please load a weapons order? You are also not to use or possess alcohol, non-prescribed drugs, marijuana, or any drug paraphernalia. You are not to go on the property of or have contact with the alleged victim, who is Ms. San. And do you want a formal no contact order on that?
No, Your Honor. The information we have from the alleged victim did not indicate. Didn't indicate that she wanted one.
Okay.
Really just wants to see her an inpatient.
Okay, so you're not to have any contact with Santa Sim. You are to keep your address updated with the court at all times and use only your true legal name and date of birth.
Okay, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Why would I have to have a no contact order again with her?
Because, well, I'm not imposing a no contact order. I'm imposing an order. I'm saying that's a condition of your release, that you have no contact with her.
Okay. Yeah,
So
I
there's not an order in place, but I'm telling you that you're not to have contact with her.
Okay.
Okay? You are going to be installing an alcohol monitoring device and abiding by all of the rules and restrictions. And you are to enroll in that program within 24 hours of your release. You will be on active probation for 60 months. You must obtain a substance use disorder evaluation within the next 30 days and immediately begin treatment. For a period of the next 24 months, you are to attend a minimum of 2 self-help meetings a week and file proof with probation by the 5th of each month. You are also to complete a domestic violence victims panel, because I want you to consider the harm that you cause people you love when under the influence you act out in a violent or dangerous fashion. That is due within 45 days of your release. Okay, you are not to change treatment providers without the permission of the court.
Okay.
You are also not to possess any firearms.
Mhm.
Okay, so here is what I wrote, and I hope that this reflects the intention of the parties. All right, so the defendant is to be assessed for inpatient treatment while in custody. If she is eligible for inpatient treatment, she shall be released directly to an inpatient bed date where she shall be given day-for-day credit for her in custody sentence. If for some reason she is not found to need inpatient treatment, her attorney can set a review hearing to address her release directly to EHM with TAD. EHM with TAD shall be paid by the city. If she is ordered to outpatient treatment, then she shall complete the in-custody portion of her sentence via EHM. Regardless, Ms. Charging Hawk is ordered to maintain the TAD device at the expense of the city for no less than 180 days. If there are positive readings on the TAD device, the defendant shall have 10 days of jail imposed. This number will go up by 5 days for each subsequent positive reading. It is the defendant's responsibility to know what substances may cause false positive results. By consulting with Officer, what's Daisy's last name? Yeah, with Officer Lamelli. So Officer Lamelli is our probation officer who will be putting the TAD device on you. When she does, she's going to go over all of the things that you cannot use. You can't take NyQuil. You can't use hand sanitizer. You can't clean your house with rubbing alcohol. You can't drink the vanilla when you're baking cookies. You cannot put yourself in a position where you are going to have any unintended positives because there is zero tolerance for unintended positives. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
That
All
all
right.
makes sense to me, Your Honor. I do have a point to address. I haven't had the benefit of reviewing the police report in this matter. With regard to any potential no contact order, I don't know what the current relationship between the defendant and the alleged victim is right now. This is an incident from September of last year. So I don't want to put Ms. Charging Hawk in a position where she violates unofficial no contact order with the court. Obviously, she's in severe probation and has some pretty stringent requirements. So I don't think it's going to be an issue, but my understanding is the court has indicated to her not to have any contact. I'm not sure if that's necessarily appropriate. There's no contact order in place.
Okay,
So-
how about parties, if I say, do not go on the property of or have any hostile
No objection.
contact with Santa Sim. Any unwanted? All right, do you object to that, Mr. Farrow?
So I would request,
Uninvited.
just no hostile, uninvited contact. I think, so this is an individual whom, my understanding is, has been helpful to Miss Charging Hawk in the past.
Okay,
If that is a helpful stabilizing relationship, I wouldn't want to.
okay, all right. So I'm gonna say do not go on the property of and do not have no hostile, uninvited hostile contact with Santa Sim. So do not lose your temper with her. And if you are losing your temper, what you must do is remove yourself from the situation immediately. Okay?
Yes, Your
And
Honor.
just to make a record, I just want to note I am basing this specifically on Miss Sim indicating that she is wanting to help Miss Charging Hawk in this process.
Okay, awesome. Well, I am so glad that you have people in your life that care about you and love you and want to help you and support you. That is really wonderful. But one of the things that's so important to remember is that with the people who are good to us, they're the last people that we take out our frustration and our anger with. Those are the last people that we put in harm's way. So
Yeah,
create a situation where when you feel angry or upset, you have a rule for yourself. Like every time I feel like I'm gonna, I drop to the floor and I do push-ups until my arms fall. Okay?
Mhm.
That's a good way of getting frustration and aggression out of your system that doesn't put other people in harm's way. You know, I walk out the door and I run as fast and as far as I can until I clear my mind. You know, whatever it is that you need to do not engage with people who love you and are trying to help you in a violent or angry way.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you so much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. I want you to be successful. I want you to be happy. So there's 45 days that need to be served, and I'm giving you credit for 1 day served. You can serve the balance of that in inpatient treatment. If they don't want you to go to inpatient treatment, then those 45 days may be served upon motion of your lawyer on electronic home monitoring with alcohol monitoring. But regardless of how you serve the time, you are to have 180 days served with a TAD device to monitor your compliance. And if you have a positive UA, you're doing 10 days in jail. The second time you're doing 15. The third time you're doing 20. The fourth time you're doing 25. It's just going to keep going up.
Oh,
Okay? So I know addiction is really difficult, but you've got to figure out how you're going to beat this and what you're going to do to take care of yourself to
Well,
make this
I'm
happen.
sorry, Your Honor, but I noticed nowadays that I really don't drink that much no more. I actually just addicted to nicotine. That's my most worry, is being addicted to nicotine.
Okay, well, you're not to drink anything. I'm not going to order you not to use nicotine, but it's not, don't drink that much anymore. It's, you are not to drink, full stop. And I'm glad that you don't feel like it is excruciatingly painful not to consume alcohol. That's excellent. But it's important that you understand you are not to consume any, full stop. Okay?
Yeah, I understand, because I really don't like drinking as much no more either. I seen how much trouble it got me into the past 4 years.
Okay, I'm glad you see that. So I have signed off on this document. I will ask the two attorneys to please as well, and we will indicate that it's being served on you. I wish you such good luck, ma'am. I want you to be happy and healthy and wise.
Thank you, I
Okay.
appreciate it. So I gotta serve more time, right?
Yes, but hopefully you will be serving it in inpatient treatment. Okay,
Okay.
all right. Thanks so much.
Yes,
All
thank you as
right.
well.
Thanks.